I'm going to show you a video which is broken up into multiple pieces. We're going to look at floodwater in Houston. We're going to start by looking at some of the data for the flooding, and then we'll add in some other widgets which allows us to filter that data. We're going to do it in 2D and 3D just to show the power of those two dimensions in combination. So let's first of all just start by visualizing the floodwater. This is downtown Houston. You'll see two panels here, a large panel and then to the left a smaller panel, and we'll walk through those. So let's look at a pre-flood image. So we'll just overlay that image on top of the map, and this is what the area looked like before the flood. I'm going to turn on the post-flood image as well. This is what it looked like after the flood. And we can actually turn those on and off, and you can get to see a sense of the area of flooding that we saw. So that's imagery. Let's turn all that off and look at where the actual water stood prior to the flood. So we just laid that information on top of the map, which shows the areas of water pre-flood. I'm now going to go post-flood to give a sense of the area covered by the water. And we can see how much of an area of Houston was actually flooded during that particular event. What I'm going to do also on the left hand side here is to show change analysis. Now we've done some calculation here, and you can actually use a slider to actually view what we have on the right from pre-flood to post-flood to make comparisons. So we can actually look at that area and slide across to see the differences. Now that we've looked at the area in 2D and we've taken a look at the information on pre and post flooding and made some comparisons, let's think about now how that's impacted properties in the area. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn off the pre and post floodwater for now, and we're actually going to go into 3D mode. So this is actually downtown Houston in 3D. So we can actually see here the buildings that are impacted by that floodwater. I'm going to turn some other widgets on as well. So we'll turn off the change analysis for now, and let's turn on some other widgets that we can actually look at. So we've got 4 on the screen. I'll walk through them very quickly. What we're looking at here in the top left hand corner is percent flood coverage. That means how much flood water impacted the buildings we're looking at, and it's color coded. So red is high level of impact, so that's over 70%, and those will be the red items on the screen. Green obviously is less impacted, so that's actual percent flood covered. We've also got damage designation as well, so we can filter this data, this 3D data, by type, so we can actually just turn on the residential or commercial as needed. We've also got percent flood coverage as well in a chart here, which we can do filtering, and we've got a damage indicator, so with a level of damage. So for example, if we wanted to see those buildings which had the highest flood percent coverage, we can click in the top chart and we narrow that data down to those buildings which were the most affected by the floodwater. So we've isolated those ones. If we wanted to look at if any of those were commercial, we click on the commercial, and we can actually then narrow down to see which of those are actual commercial properties as against residential. One last thing we can do is move from percent flood coverage, which shows how much floodwater impacted the building in terms of coverage, to the actual square footage. So we actually see the chart change, and in this case this is actually going to show us the size of the square footage of floodwater. So we can isolate those of the largest buildings which are most impacted by the floodwater, and in this case there they are. Let's see how much of those are commercial. Thanks for watching.